This video is the continuation of the former video. Ancient DNA and ancestral markers clearly prove that 4,500 to 12,000 years ago, almost all modern humans living in the Americas with YHPR from the Americas migrated to Europe and Western Eurasia. However, the consensus is very hesitant about informing the general public of this migration from the Americas to Europe and Western Eurasia. So now, those that also call themselves modern humans and live in and occupy Europe and Western Eurasia, were in fact Americans living in the Americas as recent as 4,500 to 12,000 years ago. Before their migration they were Americans living in the Americas already with YHPR, but they already were hybrid descendants from Americans with the more commonly recognized YHPQ, which has its origin in the Amazon forest and dominated most Native Americans. We claim they migrated, because they were hybrids, that next to warriors and farmers, predominantly were miners and metallurgists. But since these practices are unsustainable, their mines in North America where they were stationed for mining had become depleted. In a way, what happened can be compared a bit with the decline of the industrial belt in the USA in the former century, the decline of the Rust Belt. Further, all hybrids and consequently all modern humans are hybrid descendants from this YHPQ, simply because YHPQ features the most original, stable DNA, best suited to be hybridized without the new hybrids being plagued by unstable DNA and/or diseases. So that is why hybrid after hybrid is generated by means of the same process, that always starts with Amazon AMERINDS, that present the best hearth and brain health, certainly back then, but still so today. Those Amazon AMERINDS were convinced or more probably forced to undergo these hybridizations, which can be seen similar to the kind of breeding programs, which much later also the Nazis attempted, but failed or took place in comparably insignificant numbers. In certain cases, as in the Austronesian expansion, the process started from a hybridized descendant that had a secondary cradle or carbon agroforest, this time not in the Amazon forest, but in Australia or Oceania that also present carbon agroforests or tropical forests complete with marsupial-like gardeners, even if they are hybrid descendants of the Amazon forest's original animals. Western Eurasians, and especially Western Europeans, dominantly carry the male DNA that is called Y-DNA haplogroup R, and that we will abbreviate as YHPR, as we already did in the beginning of this video. Much later the same Europeans and Western Eurasians, that are in fact Americans, invaded and colonized an important part of the Americas around the year 1500. So today the Americas, as other parts of the world apart from Western Eurasia, are dominated by the same YHPR, which are not the first Americans or Amerins because these were and still are YHPQ. Most of these humans with YHP are probably think they evolved and descended from earlier native European and West Eurasian humans, but as explained they are not, and they are in fact evolved or rather were hybridized and next descended. So even if there had been significant African influence from before 12,000 years ago, which was not the case, it would have been wiped away, and consequently we are not descendants of sub-Saharan Africans. While this could be very surprising for some, what has it to do with what agriculture is and how it evolved, and especially what its practice means and/or causes? The big thing is that humans of the haplogroup R were hybridized. Let us for now call it specialized in or domesticated in the function of strategic warfare plus agriculture. We say plus agriculture, because agriculture fits best groups, populations, or cultures that are constantly involved in strategic warfare as those that migrated and turned over after 12,000 years ago, proved to be. There is or will be a price to pay for this because agriculture is not a sustainable form of food production, and will at some point degenerate, and if intensified too much will ultimately destroy the climate on Earth beyond the point that we humans and a large number of animals are able to survive. This knowledge is not convenient, so here consensus is called to come into play by the power players. Centuries ago it would have been religion, at least for Western Europe and Western Eurasia, but right now in these places consensus has acquired more power and influence. Quite often you can observe a strong division between religion and consensus science, as for instance in the United States. We deliberately did not mention science, because any ideal science should not be supported by some power. Consensus science, however, is much more vulnerable to be supported and/or influenced by some power. So here we are, agricultural humans ruled the world for the last 2,000 years, but one could safely claim agricultural humans ruled the world for the last 12,000 years, this because as earlier claimed, they were hybridized for warfare and next for agriculture, and in this order. The last 12,000 years is the period of our interest in this video. This video is part of a series and to be continued.